One of the things I look forward to every summer is that deliciously sweet smell of gardenias on the breeze. And another thing I look forward to is the deliciously sweet taste of ice cream. And I thought, why not put those two together and make some gardenia ice cream?
I know I'm not the only one who's ever wanted to take a bite out of a gardenia. These bushes actually belong to a neighbor. She let me pick some flowers in exchange for some ice cream. Always make sure to ask before harvesting someone else's plants. So just a couple of tips when you're harvesting gardenias. You do want to mist the flowers down with some cool water, and you also want to avoid touching the flowers with your hands in case you cross-contaminate some oil. These will keep in the refrigerator for a very long time and not lose their smell or change color as long as they've got the water and you haven't touched them yet. Let's move back on over to the kitchen. This recipe is actually inspired from the honey ice cream recipe I found in the back of the Sultan manual, but you're gonna need a 1/4 cup of honey, 2 cups of cream, 1 cup of whole milk, a 1/2 cup of evaporated milk, a 1/4 cup of condensed milk, and 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin. Now, because I know that these flowers were not treated with any pesticides or anything like that, I'm just rinsing them in cold water to knock any hitchhikers off. I started off trying to remove the green stems by snipping it with scissors, and that just wasn't the answer. I quickly realized that if you just grab the green bit and give it a good twist, they pop right off, and you get more flower and more flavor. This is so satisfying. Honestly, you gotta just try this once. Now that we've separated our flowers from the green stems, I'm just putting them into some plastic bags, and within that, I'm gonna try a little experiment and add the cream to one bag and the milk to the other, just to see if one picks up the scent and flavor of the flowers more than the other. We really want those flowers sitting and saturated in that milk, so the plastic bags are the way to go. You just press out all of the air through a little hole and squish that milk and cream all around the flowers, and then we're gonna pop those in the fridge and let them sit for a couple days. Now that that beautiful gardenia smell has had a chance to impregnate on that milk and cream, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop the flowers and the milk onto the stovetop just to slightly warm it and kind of brown those flowers and pull out whatever little bit of scent's left. I don't want it to get too hot. While I'm letting that cool off just a bit, I'm blooming my 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin in a 1/4 cup of water. Take a tea towel or some cheesecloth and set that inside a heat-resistant bowl, and then go ahead and pour in your flour milk cream ratio, and we're going to strain that out. In case you were wondering, the milk actually wound up picking up the scent better of the flowers, and I was really surprised. I thought the fat from the cream would really hold on to that, but that's why I did both. Back over on the stovetop, we're going to take a 1/2 cup of evaporated milk and start to warm that. So this is where I started to kind of alter the recipe. I decided to add a 1/4 cup of sweetened condensed milk to add some sweetness and a little bit more cream instead of doing the whole amount of honey that the recipe called for. Now we're going to add our bloomed gelatin and start to mix everything together. So the traditional recipe calls for a 1/2 cup of honey, and I just knew that that would overpower my gardenia flavor, so I did a 1/4 cup and it was perfect. Oh, honey is so beautiful. Here you can even see how rich that honey was and how it changed the color. And now we're going to add our delicious gardenia cream. You can also use this in coffee. It is so good. So floral, a little bit of grassiness, mix that all in, and then we are gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This recipe is a lot easier since we are not dealing with any eggs. So right now we're just gonna let her warm up a little bit, give her a good stir, and enjoy the fact that our ice cream base is done. And next, all we have to do is chill it. So before we pop this in the fridge for 2 hours, you do want to do a little ice bath to help speed things up. You just find 2 bowls that fit pretty well inside of each other, but leave a little bit of area perimeter so you can fill that with ice water. I always recommend straining your ice cream base. This one really didn't need it, but you never know if anything is going to congeal or stick together, and that does not make for smooth ice cream. Next, we're just going to take our big bowl and fill that with ice. And then you're going to put your smaller bowl with your ice cream inside. If it doesn't sit, add the water to kind of disperse the hard ice and give it something to sit in. And it's a lot easier.
I know I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. The Sultan ice cream maker is absolutely groovy. So the cool thing about this is you don't need any salt, you don't need any ice, you don't need a giant frozen container that takes up a ton of space in your freezer. All you need is this little beauty. So it's got a metal base where you put your ice cream mixture, and then it's got this fantastic fan. So that pulls in the cold air out of the freezer and pushes it down over that. And that fan motor also turns the paddle mixer. It's got a really cool chainmail cord to keep anything from getting damaged whenever you close the door. And it tucks away nice, neat, and easy. And you can make ice cream whenever you feel like it. You don't need to prepare for anything. You just plug it in and stick it in the freezer.
You can find these vintage mixers on eBay or Etsy. They run about $30, and I highly recommend you scoop one up. We're gonna remove the plastic covering and inside paddle mixer, and then we're gonna add our thickened base that has been chilling in the fridge for about 2 to 3 hours. Once that has all been added in, we are gonna go ahead and add back in the paddle mixer and put on our rubber top again and make sure everything lines up with the motor and fan. And then we're gonna take this on over to the freezer and pop it inside. After about an hour and a half, it's time to get our ice cream. To remove the motor, we are just going to press on the locking tabs on the side and take that off. I also have a container that I've kind of let chill in the freezer. That way, when we put our ice cream in, it can cool faster. Oh, wow, that looks gorgeous. So it's going to be more of a soft serve whenever you take it out of the mixer. I always recommend freezing it after. That way you get that perfect ice cream consistency. Also, I may have overfilled this a little bit, but I wanted a lot of ice cream, and it looks and smells and tastes so good. Now to finish off our ice cream, we're going to give a nice honey drizzle on top before we pop it into the freezer. I'm going to let it freeze overnight, but this is just the perfect finishing touch. You can go ahead and start eating now, or if you are making this for an event or party, I like to pre-scoop my ice cream, and I also like to take a mini marshmallow and stick it in the bottom of my ice cream cones. It keeps the drip that gets everyone's hands sticky from happening. This is definitely the best and easiest way to serve ice cream at an event and keep it from melting. And I'll let you guys know, everyone absolutely loved the Gardenia ice cream. Kids and adults alike were blown away.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and this recipe, and hopefully you make a fun floral ice cream this summer that maybe people haven't tried before. Always make sure they're not poisonous though before you go putting them in your ice cream. But like always, take care and God bless.